Hello, hello, hello. I figured it might be fun today to read Arthur's journal and make it a separate stream by itself. Because not everybody wants to hear about Arthur's journal. So, this way, it's all by itself. So, I hope you'll enjoy it. So, for one, don't exactly need to be out here. So what I'm going to do, hitch the horse, go inside, and read the journal. I don't know why he stops there. That is the goofiest thing ever. Okay.
What's wrong, Mr. Pearson? Uh-huh.
Morning.
So hopefully, we'll do it this way too, and then we'll be out of the way. And in Arthur's room, he always has a light on. So we will also have light. So, all the way to the beginning. Okay. Blackwater. I bought this new journal after the last one got destroyed in a fire all those months ago, whenever it was. I haven't written or drawn much in the past few months, but I was missing it more than I thought I would. And finally near a store, so here I am, I guess. After that business up north and the fire, we spent a few months in the wilderness, traveling down from the northern grizzlies. Stuck mostly in the western foothills of the mountains during the worst of the winter. Food was easy to find, and life was good. Dutch had a lead for some land we were going to buy, and the land did not match up to his criteria, or he got spooked and we were being watched by the law, and that somebody who knew here we go. Or he got spooked, we were being watched by the law, and that somebody knew who he was, and we never bought it, and we were wandering still. We picked up a couple of new folks in the Grizzlies. Jenny, a sweet young girl we met abandoned on the roadside, and Micah, an outlaw Dutch met in a bar someplace. Dutch seemed very taken with Micah, who is pretty hot-headed, argumentative, and full of himself. Hosea and I are less sure. Guess we shall see. Eventually, we came out of the wilderness and are now holed up outside of Blackwater, although sometimes I stay in town hunting for opportunities. Hey, Kick. I figured I would read Arthur's journal on a separate stream. So, that's what this is. How are you tonight? This morning, sorry. I might be onto something. We've got plenty of money, and the trail we took was so treacherous and slow, nobody could have followed us south and east or figured out where we was heading. We was thinking about California, and then Dutch and Hosea brought us down to Blackwater. Well, if I kept a journal, that might have been interesting. But I don't keep a journal, so. Blackwater has apparently grown a whole lot since any of them was last here. I was told to expect a little more than a trading post. But the place is growing fast, and it's almost a small city. The town seems to be riddled with corruption, but there is certainly plenty of money here. It's... I used to keep a journal when I was younger, though. Although I called it a diary then. I have no idea where they are, though. It's good to be sleeping in a bed from time to time and living a more civilized life after so long under canvas. But I do not particularly like being this near to a town. We are living here, camping outside town mostly, hidden in plain sight, I guess. Life seems pretty easy. Abigail and Marston keep arguing. I wonder why exactly he came back. He cannot seem to decide if he wants to be a father to that boy of his or not. The arguing is exhausting. I heard talk of a man sounded like Trelawney, but we haven't heard from him, or we haven't seen him for many months. You need to lay down, Riley. You're driving me crazy, dude. Lay down. Thank you. Hosea and I are onto something pretty big. Might be a lot of cash coming in to do with a real estate scam Hosea thinks he may have discovered. I'm not sure yet. The perfect crime, we think. One where we could rob crooks. We're being real careful. It's fun working with Hosea again. The man is an artist of nonsense. Even if nothing comes of it, we are having an amusing enough time. It's good to be running scams again. Hosea is a born hustler. He is getting anxious, worried that by lingering in town, we are going to bring undue attention to ourselves. But Dutch thinks he is also onto something big. His words, not mine. Bank money being brought in by boat, apparently. So for now, we are working on both things and seeing what happens. Plan is to flee west into the desert country, someplace, if we can. Mike and Dutch are planning to rob the ferry in town. They think it's laden with riches, cash coming in from the bank, or cash coming in for the banks, coming in by boat. For once, I'm not getting involved in the job. Hosea and I are too taken up with our business, which I believe could go very well, and Dutch seems confident that with a group assembled, all will be okay. Plan is for them to carry out the job, flee to the wilderness, out to the west. The next day, Hosea and I will carry out our scam and join them. Dutch seems happy and excited. He's talking again about California, but he's also talking a lot about other places. You never answered me, Kick. How you doing? Suppose I should turn down all of my notifications so I don't sit here and go bling, bling, bling. Well, I'm glad you're alive. That's a start. You get some sleep last night? Oh, whatever. I wish I was popular. Although I did gain a couple subs today, so I'm pretty happy about that. We have been running for weeks. I mean running more than usual. The job that they were pulling in Blackwater robbing that ferry turned into a disaster. Young Jenny got killed, poor thing, while Sean and Mac both got arrested, or killed. No one seems sure which. Dutch shot a girl. I'm not too sure if it was by accident or by design, and seems like it may have been a setup. We took to the hills in an almighty scramble, leaving money and most of our things behind. Then, as we were fleeing east over the Grizzlies, an almighty storm hit us. Dave Callender, who got hit in the gut on the raid, passed away. It was brutal to watch, and the rest of us nearly froze. But we found shelter and have been resting here in some old abandoned town while we await the thaw. I was catching up on some much needed chores that I had been slacking on. And it ended up turning into an all-day thing. So now that I am done and paying for all day and hurting and sitting here bored and it's just too quiet, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to read Arthur's journal and just make it its own separate stream. So here we are. Hardly the spring I'd been hoping for. Hosea and I have been planning a robbery of our own in Blackwater, but I guess that's been abandoned, along with most of what I owned. I am profoundly concerned as to what happens next, once we leave this place, or the law finds us cowering up here. Found a girl. Well, a woman, I should say. Her husband had been murdered by some of Colm O'Driscoll's boys. Nasty business. Writing out. Ridge. Leviticus Cornwall. Seems Colm O'Driscoll had the same idea as us. He's been hiding up here, scouting out a train he wanted to rob. We bumped into some of his boys at some farmstead they were robbing. Found that poor woman whose husband had been murdered, and she's now riding with us, as she ain't got no place better to be. Then Dutch, being Dutch, and his hatred for Colm, being just as powerful as ever, a whole bunch of us went to pay him a visit in his camp, but he escaped. We grabbed one of his boys. Poor bastard ain't spoke yet, but he will once we freeze him a little. Then set Bill on him. Been a bad few weeks, but we're mostly still alive. Dutch, being Dutch, is busy making plans and figuring out just how we're going to survive. And Dutch, being Dutch, those plans involve robbery and dreams. Horseshoe Overlook. Finally a thaw in this god-awful weather. We got off that mountain and rode east into some pretty enough country called the Heartlands. Ain't been this far east in many a year. Hosea seems to know the country a little. Ain't been much of a spring. Now holed up in a place called Horseshoe Overlook, outside of some dumpy little cattle town, name of Valentine. Dutch seems a little better. His eyes are sparkling once more, and I can see he's thinking a little clearer. I think we all feel a little happier in spite of Blackwater and that whole mess. Met some old drunken Valentine. Claimed he was a shootist. Seemed more like a clown. Some poor fool was writing a book about him. Or trying to. Levin was the name of the writer. Jim Calloway was the killer. Apparently, Levin needs more information. Asked me to find a few folk who have spent more time in publicity than me and knew old Jim back when he was a real killer. Their names are Emma Granger, Flaco Hernandez, Billy Midnight, and Black Belle. Sounds like a troop of clowns. We shall see what kind of people those who want to be famous murderers is. My hopes are not too high. took a day off and went hunting with Hosea. He really seems to be getting his strength back a bunch, although he was lucky not to die, as his big bear he had been after turned on us. I thought when we was stuck up in the mountains, and that the cold and the misery would kill him, and it would bury him just like we buried Jenny and Davy. But he pulled through, and he'll live a while yet. I love Dutch like a father, but in many ways, I love Hosea even more. He's kind and fair and like a human being. Dutch is something else. This bear was also something else. Size of a goddamn hotel. It was, and he was mean with it. Black Belle, what a woman. If she was younger and I was in the market for a woman to go kill him with, what a pair we would have made. She told me old boy Calloway was a poser and a liar. Big surprise. Met Emmett Granger. I can't think of a single man I have enjoyed seeing dead more than this bastard. Pig shit and hatred. And he still threw a knife at me. Oh, Arthur. Colm O'Driscoll slipped through our fingers once more, and I saw my old life slip through mine. That gentle buffoon we kidnapped up in the mountains took us to a cabin. We were planning to kill Colm, but he had just gone elsewhere. We shot a bunch of his boys, and one was about to end my life when Kieran shot him. This feud is bleeding out from Dutch and Colm's mutual hatred into a loathing that permeates all of us and all of them. Still, I found quite a shotgun in the cabin. Herr Strauss is back to lending money, and I'm back to collecting it. The work mostly revolts me and shames me. Somehow, robbing people honestly with a gun and fist is less repellent than robbing them fully in accordance with the law. It'll be the usual sort of desperados, sick farmers, pregnant maids, lovesick young men, and other dupes, desperate. Thought he was a prophet blind. Valentine. Went off drinking with young Lenny. Thanks to my own particular genius for trouble when drunk, the evening did not quite go according to plan, but somehow neither of us got killed or arrested for murder, despite my best effort in that regard. Somehow, I don't imagine that the saloon owner in Valentine likes me very much after the mayhem I have caused there. No, I bet not, Arthur. I bet not. Just like I bet that big guy don't like you still. Met an idiot hunting for treasure. Bought a map off him. Wonder if I'll find anything. Found an odd-looking corpse. Something stuffed in the mouth. Couldn't make sense of it. Strauss. I went to call in alone. Some farmer. Local do-gooder. I think I seen him in Valentine before when I was fighting that big fella. He begged and coughed and sputtered, and I beat him half to death. Such is life. Such is the world. His boy looked at me like I was the devil, and perhaps for him, I was. The whole thing confuses me. Maybe that's wrong. The whole thing revolts me, my part. These sad, desperate bastards, their silly expectations of life, and their tawdry reality. The unkindness of existence. I can handle that just fine, but I do not love it, nor those who try to make things otherwise, I guess. Hosea and I went robbing, just like the old days. A father and son, pair of clowns at some farmhouse. Stole a wagon. sold it to some rat Hosea had met at some odd place called Emerald Ranch. What goes on there, I cannot tell, but this little purchaser of stolen goods had us go rob his own family. Even by my standards, that was low. But the father and son we robbed was proof that even God makes mistakes sometimes. I snuck in at night, and we robbed the lonesome bastards blind. Got into some god-awful fight in the town saloon. Bill started it. He's wound up so tight about something, I reckon he'll start hitting himself soon enough. I was stopped from beating some big yokel to death by a local do-gooder. I could not tell if this made me pleased or real angry. A local crowd seemed to want to see blood, however. Afterwards, Dutch accosted me with old Hosea Trelawney, back and quite as slippery and confusing as ever. He'll come and go again, no doubt, and leave none of us the wiser as to who or what he is. Trelawney told us that Sean had not been killed in Blackwater, but was a prisoner there, held by scalp hunters awaiting payment. Charles Smith, Xavier, and I met in Blackwater and rescued that loudmouth maniac. Before we even cut him free from the tree, he was mouthing off at us. Javier said Blackwater is an impossible situation, and I guess I had better forgot all about blah, blah. Let me do that one again. Javier said Blackwater is an impossible situation, and I guess I had better forget about all that money. Jesus Christ. All them years wasted earning that stuff. Guess I'll never quite know what happened. But the upshot is, we're on the run, and known to more folks in authority than we would like. Met a nice fella taking photos of animals. Albert Mason, I think he was called. Kind and interesting and entirely lost and unused to real country, even though he seemed to love it. Trying to take pictures of our biggest predators before they all got killed off themselves by the modern world. Should have got him to take a picture of Dutch. He got robbed by a coyote, but I got it back for him. Headed to Valentine with Uncle and the girls. Girls went scouting out for work while Uncle and I had a few drinks, and he explained more of his theories on existence and barefaced lies about his past. Things took a strange turn. Some fella seemed to recognize me, or us, from Blackwater. Guess we had been holed up there too long while Hosea and I scouted out the job that never was. I chased the bastard. And he nearly fell off a cliff. I spared him, and he gave me an ink pen. I hope I won't regret my leniency, but I reckon he got the scare of his life. Jimmy Brooks was his name. Met a lady scientist, Deborah something another. Seemed to be more mad than sane, but I don't have much frame of reference for scientists. Wanted me to see if I could help her find dinosaur bones and send her the details. Maybe. Guess Billy Midnight never escaped his past. Guy was deranged about shooting some fella in the back or in their sleep or something else. Very sensible in my opinion. Anyway, guilt had consumed him. So, like a real proper gentleman, he tried to kill me. Saw Mr. Mason again. This time, he was taking pictures of wolves, still doing his hardest to get himself eaten. Took young Jack out fishing as a favor for Abigail. Many years ago, before she fell so hard for that fool Marston, perhaps I should have married her. I think part of me has always thought that, yet God damn you, Mary. Jack is a good boy, a dreamer, a boy with a mama who loves him. I wonder if he will find what he seeks, peace and truth away from all this nonsense and lies. If that is what we still seek. Not that it's a new development. Not sure I know myself anymore. Sometimes I'm not sure Dutch does. As we fished, a couple of Pinkerton agents appeared. Milton was one of them. I forgot the other fellow's name, but knew all about me. That's a new turn of events. Apparently, there's 5,000 on my head alone. After Blackwater, or maybe before. It seems we may be in real trouble. I just don't know. Dutch don't seem too worried, but I'm beginning to have some doubts as to this wisdom in his indifference. Helped Mr. Mason take another picture, this time of wild horses, and he gave me a beautiful print of one of the wolves that nearly ate him. Boy, he scratches things out on a notepad like I do. Clemens Point. More problems have befallen us. More running. Leviticus Cornwall, the oil, sugar, acting like he was preparing for his short trip down to hell. After this, we fled the country and headed even further south and east, camping by a lake. This is pretty much new country for me. Charles and I saved a family of Germans who were in the process of getting themselves killed. He's a better man than me. He does not need to think to be good. It comes natural to him. Like right is deep within, as opposed to this conflict between good and evil that rages within me. If only we had fled west out of Blackwater, we could be free now, out where we belong, beyond civilization, with the savages and the animals. Here, we will never be at home. Whoever came up with blackberry milkshakes, thank you. Those are bomb. Just saying. Just saying. Rhodes. Ah, no! I did. God damn it, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Okay, let's try this again. No! I need Rhodes. I need Rhodes. I think I went too far. No. Horseshoe. Okay. Sorry. Still looking. Dang it. There's Belle. Oh, I hate hitting the wrong button. This is annoying.
Hello, Karen.
Oh, she just scared the crap out of me. Valentine. I have a feeling that I went way too far back. Where's Rhodes? Come on. You can do it. At least I can just hold the button down and he'll just flip the pages. Yeah, I think I went too far back. Because there's that. Yep. There we go. Rhodes. Thank you. So it turns out we're holed up outside a town called Rhodes, deep in old cotton country. This place has not recovered from the war, and those folks that is sober enough to think they are still angry. The drunk, most of them, which is most of them, are angrier still, but perhaps for other reasons. Adding to the absurdity, we appear to be planning to deputize ourselves into the local law enforcement. I remember that. And we have already taken down a major bounty on their behalf, but mostly to rescue slippery old Trelawney, who had gotten himself arrested for some of his usual nonsense. Seems like there's a long-running blood feud between the two old families here. Both Dutch and Hosea believe they may be sitting on a lot of gold. We shall see, I guess. Miss Adler, the widow we rescued a while back, might be the craziest one of us all. She fights like a cornered polecat, with a rage and a bloodlust that frightens the hell out of me. If I ever get on her wrong side, and I'm a dead man. I don't intend to. She's a fine woman, amusing and good-hearted and decent and angry. I took her shopping to stop her from filleting old Pearson right in camp. After we got jumped, she went insane and showed she can kill with the best of us. Not really. If I remember correctly, she only got like one because I killed everybody else. Anyway, met a man. Francis Sinclair wants me to find some odd rock carvings and send him details. Not sure why. I probably won't bother. Francis had bright red hair and a birthmark and spoke in an odd way. Well, that's put mildly, dude. Met a fella called Miss Margaret, an animal trainer and showman, or show woman, mistress of danger. Quite a character. Wants me to find some missing animals. A while ago, I met an odd man dressed as a lady animal trainer. Are all Englishmen that weird, I wonder? All his animals were as fake as the rest of his act until I was to find and retrieve a real lion from somewhere or other in Africa. I thought was going to be another dog, but no, it was a real lion. Thing looked like it wanted me for its next meal. After hunting a zebra, let me rephrase that. After hunting a zebra, that was a donkey, and a tiger, that was a cougar, and another lion, that was just a dog, or I think that's right. I think I've lost track of the whole thing, and an assistant that is a real woman, and him a strange English maniac in a dress pretending to be all that he isn't. Remind yourself never to go on stage. Never to go on the stage. The weird English guy gave me a pretty decent emerald as payment for my troubles. Maybe he wasn't so bad after all. This time, Albert Mason seemed obsessed by getting eaten by alligators. Again, he managed to survive much more by luck than by judgment. Deputy Sheriff. Finally, we have achieved a state of true and convinced that this will somehow lead to riches beyond compare. Seems the one powerful local family, the Greys, ex-Scots, is warring with another, proud English family, the Braithwaites, like some long-running dispute from the border country. Apparently there's gold, or women, or something at the root of this, and if it's gold, we want it. Either way, we are so deep in the swamp, and so entirely lost ourselves, I hope it will take the Pinkertons and they're like a long while to find us. We shall see. In the meantime, a new career path in law seems to await. Seems like amongst our other perils, a gang called the Lemoyne Raiders won't take too kindly to outsiders or anyone who ain't living in the distant past. Those guys are annoying too. Stumbled into this old drunk in the streets of Rhodes. I don't know quite why he made an impression. The world The world is full of self-pitying drunks. Hell, I hope to grow into one myself. But something about this fella, Jemiah Compson, blamed everyone for his plight, lost his career and his home, wanted me to go find a few trinkets at his home. Compson's stead, just north of Scarlet Meadows. Maybe I'll head over there sometime. That's a good one, Arthur. Found Flaco Hernandez for that silly book. Killed him. Bastard jumped out of the way, but I still got him. Didn't seem like the type that I was going to befriend anyway. Went to the house. Don't feel so bad for him now. Feel like a fool. Bastard was a slave catcher. Went to see Mr. Compson again. Burned his valuable ledger right in front of his eyes. Good job, Arthur. Another body seems to be linked somehow to the previous one. More paper in the mouth. Maybe directions to someplace? I don't know. Oh, that's right. We only have 2 of 3. We still have to get the other one. Braithwaite Manor. Moonshine. I met some charming woman in my time. Catherine Braithwaite, the mother hen to that particular bunch of roosters, ain't one of them. A sore old jug of piss and bullshit I ain't never met. Even Hosea's charms were lost upon her. She refused our offer of selling her back her shine, and instead got us to give it away to annoy the saloon owners in town. Hosea put on quite a show until we got interrupted by the bastards we robbed when we grabbed the stuff. We just about escaped. On the other hand, I met this poor bastard gray boy, Beau, and his forbidden love, Miss Penelope. Quite the most alive creature I have met down here. Suddenly, I'm marching as a schnaffer. What? I have no idea. Suffragette? I don't know. The looks of loathing on the faces of the locals delighted me, while their leader, Miss Calhoun, amused me. I don't know much about good causes nor the joys of democracy, but I enjoyed my little experience riding alongside them. World is certainly changing fast. I almost want to look that up so I know how to say that, because suffrage, no. I don't know. Suffragette? Suffragette? Suffragette. Suddenly I was marking as a suffragette. Suffragette. Okay. Saw an old church. Found it interesting. Not sure why. We went horse thieving, our greed getting the better of us. Believed a yarn spun by believed a yarn spun us by one of the Gray family, the patriarch, Travis, a particularly unpleasant one of what seems a reasonable unpleasant family. He had us believing that the Braithwaite woman owned some highly prized English thoroughbreds or Arab chargers or whatever they were supposed to be, and we imagined we was going to be wonderfully rich. At the end of it, we felt like prize idiots, but I guess at least some prize was being handed out. Charles and I went out looking for Trelawney, who was staying in Rhodes. He'd been accosted by some bounty hunters who was looking for him and a means to get to us. The whole thing turned out nasty. He had been treated pretty badly, but we got him out of there. He seemed worried that there might be more following in their wake, so came back to camp with us. I haven't read past Rhodes, so if I stumble, I'm sorry. I'm trying. There always seems to be more bounty hunters, Pinkertons, and lawmen. Everywhere we go, there's more and more civilization. Perhaps this is it from now on. We shall see, I guess. This whole place is beginning to give me the creeps. I want to get back in the open country of the West, or what's left of it. But even that ain't the way I remember it. Saw Albert again. Bored of fighting animals, he tried to fight gravity. Again, he somehow survived. I hope he will now retire from a life even more idiotic and dangerous than mine. I have been recouping after an interesting encounter with Colm O'Driscoll. Dutch got it in his mind to meet the bastard, to somehow end all of the lunacy. Only Colm did not share Dutch's sense of honor among thieves. The whole thing was a setup to kidnap me, then lure all the rest of us into a trap so that we could get arrested, and Colm could disappear away, us somehow carrying off his sin. Okay. Somehow carrying off with his sin along with our own to the gallows. Seemed like Colm is enjoying this modern world even less than we are. More by luck than judgment, I escaped and somehow got back here, more dead than alive, and collapsed into bed for a few feverish days, after much nursing for Miss Grimshaw and Miss Tilly, and much guilt-ridden apologies from Dutch over his stupidity. I survived okay. My shoulder, where I was shot, good grief, and come down with gangrene, and I will live, if even uglier than before. Things is getting even more insane with the local population. My sense is neither the Greys nor the Braithwaites have a pot to piss in. Wow! Okay, so we'll flip words around apparently. My sense is neither the Greys nor the Braithwaites have a pot to piss in. But I ain't spent too much time with the landed gentry. Whatever else they is, they don't make one believe in the nobility of the aristocracy, whatever. Ooh. Well, my glasses are dirty, so that might explain a little bit. A little bit being a tiny, itty bitty bit. The rest I blame me. I honestly didn't think that there was this many journal entries. I figured this was going to be, not very long. Apparently, I was wrong. Okay, now let's see if clean glasses help. A little bit. Sean. That would be a dead shot. Sean has been killed. I'm more sad than I could admit. I love that little loudmouth. Wrench more than I even knew. He was like an annoying little brother to me. What fun we had riding together, and now he's dead. His head shot in half. His head shot half off in an ambush. Ooh, excuse me. What a goddamn mess we are making of things. Still, no Confederate gold, but a shitload of trouble. Home for now. We've moved again. More trouble with the Pinkertons. More trouble with them locals. More trouble all around. Little Jack's been kidnapped. So we're trying to find him. Apparently some fella in St. Denis, Senor something another, took umbrage to our presence and kidnapped him, or heaven forbid, worse. We burnt down Braithwaite Manor when we went hunting for him, in an almighty scrap. Then we got spoken to again by Agent Milton. This time, he asked us for Dutch's head on a platter. We got him to leave, but they ain't too pleased with us. So we headed into St. Denis to find little Jack. We was told he'd been kidnapped by some local gangster, this Italian feller called Bronte, a local tough guy. We ain't found him, but he's found us. Dutch and I headed to town, and I managed to get myself robbed by a bunch of children. This was a new low, even by my standards. Anyway, we found Mr. Bronte, and are going to pay him a call. We better get the boy back soon. Not least because if we don't, Abigail will kill the lot of us. All this after we burned down the Braithwaite Manor house looking for him and made some real enemies of ourselves back in that country. We are now hiding deep in the swamps, trying not to get eaten by wildlife or sunk too deep in the mud. I cannot decide which I like less, the swamps or the city. Both are full of parasites, reptiles, and slime, but the swamps prettier. Dutch is trying to think of where we can run next, but in the meantime, we are deep in the swamps, hiding in some disease-ridden old plantation house, mostly swallowed up by nature. Guess we will find Jack, get some money, then flee. But where? These bastards ain't giving up. We're a long way east of land we know, and far from real open country. Met a curious Frenchman in a bar, bought him a drink, and he gave me a picture. Said he was an artist, although I'm not sure. I see what is good. Although I'm not sure I see what is so good about it. Oh, my back is killing me. Sorry, guys. Met a monk, helped him free a couple of poor bastards from the islands someplace who were kept prisoner. The monk, what was his name, brother something or another, was a good fellow. One of these innocent people who make you feel better about being human beings and even about yourself a little. Must be odd to see all that goodness in the world. Place always seemed so dark and brutal to me. Yeah, you got a point, Arthur. Back then, it was. Oh. Getting situated. Okay. Met a weird fellow. Wants 100 gallons of moonshine for love? Never heard such nonsense in all my life. And I know some talkers of nonsense. Guess I'll go ask that clerk. Alden, Trelawney's disappointed friend. If maybe he knows a way of finding it, as I think there's money in this. Arthur, you didn't get paid for that job. Saint Denis. Shady Belle. I was certain Saint Denis was one of the 7 wonders of the world. If this is so, I don't care much to see the other 6. It's a depressing place that shows you the only thing worse than people is a whole lot of people. I have not ever met a lizard in such a suit before, only now I have, and his name is Angelo Bronte. He is either our salvation or our damnation. This city's strongmen arrived from Italy a few years ago and now knows and controls everything and everyone. He had not harmed Jack other than feeding him strange food, and Dutch seems to think that maybe he can get something from this oily dictator. I don't think so. Personally, I don't trust him more than I trust any hungry animal not to try and eat me. But for now, we are someplace safe and hidden. Whole place gives me the creeps. Mary wrote to me, wants to see me again. Oh, Mary, what fools we are. What a fool I am. You said it. You fucking said it, Arthur. You were an absolute fool for helping that woman. Met a pair of fellas from a chain gang. Black fella named White, white fella named Black. They wanted to kill each other. They begged me to clear off some wanted posters for them. Collected the posters. Old White and Black weren't so innocent as they seemed. Took the shine to the fella in St. Denis. A professor, no less. Andrew something or another. He built an electric chair as some kind of way of killing folk who needs killing. Oh, the irony of it all. Even more ironic. Me so tough and him so weak. And I never got paid. No, you didn't. Met a crazy man in St. Denis, a professor no less, Marco Dragic? Sure. I'm still amazed by what I experienced. He had me control a tiny boat remotely. How? I have no idea. I did not understand any of it. But even though he was annoying and a sharp mouth, he seemed obviously highly intelligent. Was I duped? I have no idea. Wouldn't be the first time I've fallen for the rantings of an intelligent man telling me how to think. Only he didn't tell me how to think. Whole thing was odd. Told me to come see him at his lab at Dover Hill. Maybe. Saw Mary and the awful daddy, who was taken to drink, which, unsurprisingly, ain't improved him a whole lot. What a foul pig he is. Taken to hawking off family heirlooms and cursing the world for it. Still a stuck-up son of a bitch. Now Mr. Linton has passed away. I wonder what he wants for his daughter. Funny thing is, I love her, and yet I'm a bad lot. Old Daddy is good, upright man, and yet he treats his daughter like a possession to be mistreated and abused as he sees fit. Strange creatures, men, I don't know. All I know is that I love her, and she both loves and detests me. It never worked before, and it won't ever work now, yet it gnaws at me. The idea of it gnaws at me like a sickness. I've got to give all that nonsense up. I'm an outlaw, a murderer, a man with a code different to ordinary men, and Mary ain't never going to be for my world. Dude, she missed her chance. I don't know why you're sad over Mary, dude. She blew it. You're a good man, Arthur. went to vaudeville show in town. Dancing from France, quite a business. What is wrong with me? Do I really think I can retire someplace nice and live a normal life with a wife? Am I a big enough do it to believe that it's possible? If I want to get paid for this nonsense, I've got to find a bounty. His name of Wilson J. McDaniels, so he can be humanely disposed of at an enormous cost to everybody, as opposed to shot in the head like I would do. Still, ain't been paid for this. I think Arthur is a little bent about not getting paid. I don't blame him, though. We had to pay for the permit. Didn't get paid for that. We had to pay Alden for the stagecoach information. We had to go rob it. We had to travel all over the place to go get that shit and bring it back to him. Then we had to go get dude and bring him back to him. So yeah, I don't blame Arthur for being bent about that. I'd have been bent too. Like, Arthur wasted a lot of his time trying to help dude out. I went to an art gallery. Seems fine and fancy living ain't quite so different from the life in the wilderness. Robbing stagecoaches was an exhibit of paintings by the artist I met a couple of times. Charles something other, French fella. Seemed he'd been doing a lot more than painting his model. He had been taking with the subject matter. Whole thing descended into a brawl. Had to help him escape. Hi, bro. What you doing? Shouldn't you be sleeping? Took McDaniels in and watched him fry. Weren't very nice. Weren't very humane. The professor got upset and got involved before possibly killing himself with electricity, and I never got paid. If they catch me, I pray they hang me. That chair is the work of the devil. You in New Mexico? Are you guys finally leaving? Are you finally moving? I'm so excited for you guys. Oh, that's awesome. Is she driving? Because if not, you're being bad. What'd you do with the van? Ah, gotcha. Found Charles, the artist, dressed as a streetwalker, trying to flee from assorted men he offended, fleeing to the South Seas. Wonder if I'll see him there. It stayed behind? Yeah, I bet it did. Did you guys surrender it? The mayor of Saint Denis Mansion. My lord, now I have done everything. I went to a ball, like fool in a fairy tale. The mayor of Saint Denis, Dutch got us invited by old Signor Bronte, and and off we trooped, trussed up like turkeys for Thanksgiving, and waxed and polished and primed to within an inch of our lives. Bronte did not mingle with the other guests, but lorded over the place like a Roman Empire, deciding who to have killed for his fun. The place was full of drunks, lunatics, liars, and clowns. But the thing was kind of fun. Managed to not get into too much trouble, and may have some business opportunities on account of inquiries there. We shall see, I guess. Seeing Bill dressed up like an ambassador and awkward as a schoolgirl was one of the funniest moments of my life. Met Evelyn Miller, the writer, which was amazing for Dutch. Met the mayor. Dutch and Hosea seem to think this dump is a world of possibilities. They want to look into the bank and some other business opportunities. We shall see. As long as we can keep ahead of the Pinkertons and Mr. Cornwall and the rest of them for a while, maybe we shall be okay. You guys taking turns driving? Being safe at least? Evelyn Miller. Met that writer, Evelyn Miller, in the street. He remembered me from the party. Apparently, my petty crime did not go entirely unnoticed. Better keep my head down a little better. He introduced me to a couple of Indians, father and son angry, father with an air of what exactly? Of something both impressive and frightening and kind about him. A great man. Defeated by powerful and awful forces? I do not know, but his eyes, the very manner, spoke to me. We each have a vehicle to drive. Oh my goodness, that's quite a drive. My goodness. When did you guys leave? Well, that's not too bad. You're only going a couple states over. Oh my goodness. Holy shit, bro. I hope the kids are sleeping. Somehow I've agreed to help them. Seems like us, have problems with that gilded ape, Leviticus Cornwall, and his foul empire. We shall see how this pans out. Oh, I'm so excited for you guys, though. 4 vehicles, though. That is just crazy. Kieran, that poor kid we spared from O'Driscoll's gang. I better watch my mouth then. Kieran, that poor kid we spared from the O'Driscoll's gang up in the mountains is dead, killed by the bastards. He saved my life, and I could not save his. They chopped his head off and tried to kill the lot of us. Miss Adler fought braver than any of us. She is driven by powerful forces I scarcely understand. But that's what love has done to her, I guess. I feel like an animal living out in the mud here. Whole place gives me the creeps. Is that it? That's it? I have the horse trailer with 2 horses and 6 goats. Oh, I'm jealous. That's not fair. I'm so jealous. Oh, I've reached the end. My goodness, that is just crazy. Do they have a way of watching Auntie? Because I have an idea if they do. How long are you guys going to be at the rest stop? Okay. Well, I'm going to end this stream. I will be right back. I'm going to put some on for the kids. But much love. Thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed me reading Arthur's journal up until this point. When I get farther along, I will read more. I will continue this. Or I will open up John's playthrough and finish reading Arthur's journal later. But until then, much love. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.